The steam hit Dominic Kane's face like a wall of fire. He stumbled backward, hands flying to his eyes as the scalding vapor mixed with the acrid chemical smell of industrial cleaner. Someone had left the degreaser bottle open right next to the pressure cooker. A rookie mistake, or maybe not a mistake at all. Chef, are you okay? His sous chef, Marcus, grabbed his arm, pulling him away from the stove. The kitchen of Ember, Dominic's flagship Manhattan restaurant, erupted into chaos. Servers stopped mid-stride. Line cooks abandoned their stations. Someone killed the burners. Another person was already on the phone with 911. Dom let them fuss, let them panic. He kept his eyes squeezed shut, playing the part perfectly. I can't smell anything, he said, his voice rough. I can't taste, there's just nothing. The lie came easily, too easily maybe. But he'd been preparing for this moment ever since he'd noticed the discrepancies in the inventory reports. Ever since he'd caught his business partner, Brett Morrison, in his office after hours, photographing documents. Ever since his fiancée, Sienna Crawford, had started asking too many questions about his will. 3 years ago, Dom had lost his wife, Claire, in a car accident on the West Side Highway. A drunk driver, wrong place, wrong time. The kind of tragedy that hollows you out and leaves you walking through life like a ghost. He'd thrown himself into work, building his restaurant empire into something Claire would have been proud of. 3 Michelin stars, James Beard Award, a cookbook that spent 16 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. And somewhere along the way, he'd stopped paying attention to the people closest to him. The ambulance arrived within minutes. They loaded him onto a stretcher, and he kept his eyes closed the whole ride to Mount Sinai. Let them think he was in shock. Let them think he was traumatized. In the emergency room, a young doctor with tired eyes examined him, shined lights in his pupils, asked him to identify smells from little bottles. Dom pretended he couldn't detect anything, not the peppermint, not the coffee, not even the ammonia that made his eyes water. Mr. Kane, I'm going to be honest with you, the doctor said, pulling up a stool. Chemical burns combined with thermal trauma can cause temporary anosmia and ageusia. That's loss of smell and taste. In most cases, the senses return within a few weeks, but sometimes the damage is permanent. Dom let his face fall, let the devastation show. I'm a chef, he said quietly. Without taste, without smell, I'm nothing. Let's not jump to conclusions. We'll run more tests, get you set up with a specialist, but for now, you need to rest. They admitted him overnight for observation. Brett showed up within an hour, his face arranged in an expression of concern that didn't quite reach his eyes. Brett Morrison, his college roommate, his business partner for the last 8 years. The guy who'd been there when Claire died, who'd helped Dom through the worst months of his life. The guy who was now trying to steal everything Dom had built. Jesus, Dom, I came as soon as I heard. Brett pulled up a chair next to the hospital bed. How bad is it? Can't taste anything. Can't smell. Doctor says it might be permanent. Brett's face flickered, just for a second, a micro expression that might have been satisfaction before the concerned mask slipped back into place. That's terrible, man, but hey, you're alive, that's what matters. We'll figure out the restaurant stuff. Yeah, Dom kept his voice flat, defeated. I guess we will. Brett stayed for 20 minutes making all the right noises, saying all the right things, but his phone kept buzzing. He kept checking it, trying to be subtle about it. And when he finally left, claiming he needed to handle the dinner service at Ember, Dom caught a glimpse of the screen. A text from Sienna. Did it work? Is he really out? Dom closed his eyes. Not from pain, from rage. Sienna Crawford, food critic for Manhattan Magazine. Gorgeous, sophisticated, connected to everyone who mattered in the New York culinary scene. They'd been engaged for 6 months. She'd moved into his Tribeca penthouse 4 months ago. She wore a 4-carat diamond on her left hand and told everyone who'd listen how lucky she was to be marrying Dominic Kane. And apparently, she was sleeping with Brett. The pieces had been falling into place for weeks now. The whispered phone calls. The way Brett and Sienna always seemed to arrive at the penthouse together. the missing files from Dom's home office, the recipe for his signature dish, the one he'd never shared with anyone, showing up on the menu at a restaurant in Brooklyn that just happened to be owned by Brett's cousin. Dom had been blind, all right, but not anymore. They discharged him the next morning with a referral to a specialist and a prescription for pain medication he didn't need. Brett picked him up, drove him home in Dom's own Mercedes, kept up a steady stream of chatter about how they'd manage the restaurants, how Dom shouldn't worry about anything. "I can handle the day-to-day stuff," Brett said as they merged onto the FDR drive. "You just focus on getting better. And hey, if the senses don't come back, we'll adapt. Plenty of successful restaurateurs who don't cook anymore. You've got the business mind. That's what really matters." Dom stared out the window at the East River, gray and choppy under the November sky, and that's when it happened. The smell of Brett's cologne, that expensive stuff he always wore, suddenly hit Dom's nose, sharp and woody with a hint of bergamot. Then the taste of blood in his mouth from where he'd bitten his cheek during the accident, metallic and warm. His senses were back. Dom didn't move, didn't react, just kept staring out the window as his mind raced. If he told Brett right now, if he revealed that the accident hadn't caused any permanent damage, he'd lose his advantage. Brett and Sienna would change their plans, cover their tracks. He'd never get proof of what they were doing. But if he kept pretending, if he played the part of the disabled chef who couldn't taste his own food anymore, they'd get sloppy. Confident, they'd reveal their hand. "Yeah," Dom said finally, his voice carefully neutral. "I guess you're right. We'll adapt." Brett smiled. Dom saw it reflected in the passenger window, a smile that was all teeth and no warmth. "That's the spirit, buddy. We're going to get through this together." Dom thought about Claire, about the life insurance policy that had paid out $2 million, about how Brett had been the one to suggest Dom update his will after the wedding, making sure everything was properly organized, about how Sienna had started asking questions about the restaurant valuations, about what would happen if Dom ever wanted to sell. They weren't just stealing from him. They were planning to take everything. Well, two could play at deception. The Mercedes pulled into the underground garage of Dom's building. Brett helped him out of the car, even though Dom didn't need help, guided him to the elevator like he was an invalid. They rode up to the penthouse in silence. Sienna was waiting in the living room, her face arranged in an expression of sympathy that looked practiced. She rushed over, threw her arms around Dom's neck. "Oh my God, baby. I was so worried." She smelled like expensive perfume and lies. "How are you feeling?" "Like my career just ended," Dom said. He pulled back, looked at her with what he hoped was devastation in his eyes. "I can't taste anything, Sienna, not even coffee, not even you when I kiss you." Her face flickered, the same micro-expression Brett had shown, satisfaction masked as concern. "We'll get through this," she said, stroking his face. "I'll be here for you, whatever you need. I need to lie down." Dom moved away from her toward the bedroom. "I'm exhausted." "Of course, I'll make you some tea." "I won't be able to taste it." "Right, sorry, I'll just bring you water then." Dom closed the bedroom door behind him and leaned against it. His heart was pounding. His hands were shaking, not from fear, from fury. He pulled out his phone and opened a new note, started typing. Evidence needed. Financial records, recipe theft, documentation, proof of relationship between Brett and Sienna, recording of their real intentions he had maybe a few weeks before they made their move. Before they tried to get him to sign something or do something that would transfer his assets to them. He needed to be smart, patient. He needed to catch them red-handed. And he needed help. Someone he could trust. Someone who had no connection to Brett or Sienna or anyone in his current circle. Dom opened his laptop and pulled up the website for the Institute of Culinary Education. He'd done guest lectures there a few times. The director owed him a favor. He composed an email. Need a live and taste consultant. Someone with an excellent palate who can describe flavors in detail. Preferably a student who needs money and housing. Discretion essential. Can you recommend anyone? He hit send and lay back on the bed, staring at the ceiling. This was going to work. It had to work. Because Dominic Kane hadn't built his empire by giving up, and he sure as hell wasn't going to let two backstabbing thieves destroy everything he'd created. The game was on. Maya Rodriguez was elbow deep in dishwater when her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, saw Chef Lawrence's name, and nearly dropped the plate she was scrubbing. Her culinary school instructor never called her. Never. She was just another scholarship student trying to keep her head above water, not one of the star pupils who got special attention. Hello. She wedged the phone between her ear and shoulder, still washing dishes because her shift at the diner didn't end for another 20 minutes and her manager was a stickler about finishing tasks. Miss Rodriguez, I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time. No, chef, I'm just finishing up at work. What's going on? I have an opportunity that might interest you. How would you feel about being a live and taste consultant for Dominic Kane? Maya's hands went still in the soapy water. I'm sorry, did you just say Dominic Kane? As in the Dominic Kane, 3 Michelin stars, James Beard Award, that Dominic Kane. The very same. He had an accident in his kitchen, chemical burns. He's lost his sense of taste and smell, possibly permanently. He needs someone with an exceptional palate to help him continue working. The position includes a substantial salary and housing in his Tribeca penthouse. Maya's mind was racing. Dominic Kane. She'd watched his cooking show religiously when she was pregnant with Tyler, dreaming about someday working in a kitchen like his. She'd bought his cookbook with money she couldn't afford to spend and had cooked every single recipe, perfecting her technique. Chef, I have a 5-year-old son. I can't just leave him to go live in some penthouse. The position includes housing for both of you. Mr. Kane is aware you're a single mother. He's specifically looking for someone who needs the stability. Maya's heart started pounding. She looked around the diner, at the cracked vinyl booths and the flickering fluorescent lights, at the cook who was probably high right now, based on his glassy eyes, at her manager who docked her pay last week because she'd been 10 minutes late after Tyler's daycare called about a fever. What's the salary? Chef Laurent named a figure that made Maya's knees weak. It was more than she made in 6 months at the diner and her catering gigs combined. When would he want to meet? Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. I'll text you the address. Maya agreed and hung up, her hands shaking as she went back to the dishes. This couldn't be real. Things like this didn't happen to people like her. Single moms from the Bronx who were one missed paycheck away from eviction didn't get job offers from celebrity chefs. But apparently, sometimes they did. She finished her shift, picked up Tyler from her neighbor Rose's apartment, and spent the entire subway ride home trying to process what had just happened. Mama, you're squeezing my hand too tight, Tyler said, looking up at her with his big brown eyes. He had his father's eyes, unfortunately. Ryan had given Tyler exactly 2 things, those eyes and a lifetime of abandonment issues. Sorry, baby. Maya loosened her grip. Mama just got some exciting news today. What kind of news? The kind that might mean we get to move to a nicer place. Tyler's face lit up. With a bedroom just for me, not the couch. Maya's heart cracked a little. Her son was 5 years old and he'd never had his own bedroom. They lived in a studio apartment in the Bronx that cost $1,800 a month, which was highway robbery for 400 square feet in a bathroom where the toilet sometimes didn't flush. Maybe, she said. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. That night, after Tyler fell asleep on their pull-out couch, Maya stood in front of her tiny closet trying to figure out what to wear to meet Dominic Kane. She had exactly 3 outfits that could be considered professional, 2 black pants and blouse combinations she wore to catering gigs, and 1 dress she'd bought at a thrift store for her cousin's wedding. She chose the black pants and a white blouse, laid them out carefully, and set her alarm for 5 a.m. She needed time to make herself look like someone who belonged in a Tribeca penthouse, even if she absolutely did not. Sleep didn't come easy. She kept thinking about the opportunity, about what it could mean for her and Tyler. Stable housing, good money, the chance to learn from one of the best chefs in the world, even if he couldn't taste his own food anymore. And underneath the excitement was a current of fear. What if she wasn't good enough? What if her palate wasn't as refined as Chef Laurent thought? What if Dominic Kane took one look at her and realized she was just a girl from the Bronx pretending to belong in his world? At 5 a.m., her alarm went off. She showered quickly, dried her hair, applied makeup with a careful hand. She wanted to look professional, but not like she was trying too hard. She woke Tyler at 6, fed him cereal, and dropped him at Rosa's by 7. Big interview today? Rosa asked, taking Tyler's backpack. The biggest of my life. You'll do great, Mija. You always do. Maya took the subway to Tribeca, emerging into a neighborhood that might as well have been another planet. The buildings here were all glass and steel, converted warehouses that now housed multi-million-dollar lofts. The streets were clean. The people walking past her wore clothes that cost more than her monthly rent. She found Dominic Kane's building, a sleek tower with a doorman who looked at her like she might be lost. "I'm here to see Mr. Kane," she said, trying to sound confident. "He's expecting me." The doorman checked his list, nodded, and directed her to the elevator. Penthouse, top floor. The elevator was all mirrors and soft lighting. Maya caught sight of herself and almost didn't recognize the woman staring back. She looked scared. She looked young. She looked like someone who was about to be exposed as a fraud. She took a deep breath and straightened her shoulders. She'd gotten this far on talent and determination. She could do this. The elevator opened directly into the penthouse. No hallway, no door, just straight into a living space that was bigger than her entire apartment building. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Hudson River. The furniture was all clean lines and expensive fabrics. Abstract art hung on the walls, the kind that probably cost 6 figures. Everything was white and gray and sterile, like a magazine spread instead of a home. And standing in the middle of it all was Dominic Kane. Maya's breath caught. She'd seen him on television, of course, in photographs, but none of that had prepared her for the reality of him. He was tall, maybe 6'2", with dark hair that was slightly too long and falling into his eyes. He wore dark sunglasses even though they were indoors, and he held a white cane in his right hand. He was wearing jeans and a black t-shirt that showed off broad shoulders and muscular arms. He looked like he should be on a magazine cover, not standing in a kitchen unable to taste his own food. "Miss Rodriguez." His voice was deep, with a rough edge that sent an unexpected shiver down Maya's spine. "Yes, you can call me Maya. I'm Dom." He didn't extend his hand, didn't move toward her. Just stood there, his head tilted slightly like he was listening. "Thank you for coming. Chef Laurent speaks highly of you. I'm honored to be considered for the position. Let me be direct. I need someone who can taste food and describe it to me in detail. Not just this is salty or this is sweet. I need poetry. I need you to make me understand what I'm missing. Can you do that?" Maya thought about all the times she'd cooked for Tyler, describing each ingredient, each flavor, trying to make him excited about food the way she was. Thought about her grandmother's kitchen in Puerto Rico, the way Abuela would talk about food like it was a love language. "Yes," she said, "I can do that." "Good. The position is live in. You and your son would have your own suite. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. You'd be responsible for taste testing everything I create, helping me develop new dishes, and accompanying me to the restaurants when needed. The salary is $80,000 a year, plus housing, plus health insurance for both of you." Maya's head spun. $80,000. She currently made $28,000 between the diner and catering. "There's one condition," Dom continued. "I have a 7-year-old daughter, Lily. She lives here with me and her nanny. I need your son to be quiet when I'm working. No running through the house. No loud toys. I can't have distractions." Something in his voice made Maya's chest tight. It wasn't cruel exactly, but it was cold, distant, like he was talking about a business arrangement instead of children. "Tyler is very well behaved," she said carefully, "but he's 5. He's going to make some noise. He's going to exist. I can't make him invisible." "I'm not asking you to make him invisible. I'm asking you to keep him quiet during work hours. 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. After that, he can do whatever he wants. Maya bit her lip. It wasn't ideal, but it was better than anything else she had. Okay, she said, we can work with that. Excellent. When can you start? I need to give notice at my current jobs. 2 weeks. I'll pay you for those 2 weeks if you can start Monday. I need someone now. Maya's mind raced. Monday was 3 days away. She'd need to pack up their entire apartment, arrange for mail forwarding, figure out what to do with their furniture, which was mostly garbage anyway. Monday works, she heard herself say. Dom nodded. My assistant will send you the contract and the details about moving in. Do you have any questions? About 1 million. But she settled on, will I meet your daughter before I move in? For the first time, Dom's expression shifted. Something flickered across his face, too fast for Maya to read. Lily is at school right now. You'll meet her Monday. And her mother is dead. The words were flat, final, a door slamming shut. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It's fine. Is there anything else? Maya shook her head. Dom turned and walked toward what she assumed was his office, the cane tapping against the hardwood floor. He moved carefully, deliberately, like someone still learning to navigate without sight. Her heart ached for him. To lose your wife and then lose your ability to do the thing you loved most in the world. It was almost too cruel to imagine. Miss Rodriguez, Dom paused at the office door. Yes. Chef Laurent told me you cook your grandmother's recipes when you're stressed, that you describe them like they're memories instead of just food. That's what I need. Not technical descriptions, emotional ones. Can you do that? Maya thought about Abuela's kitchen. The way the sofrito would fill the house with the smell of garlic and peppers and cilantro. The way the rice would stick to the bottom of the pot, creating that crispy layer Abuela called pegao. The way food was never just food in her grandmother's house. It was love and history and culture all mixed together. Yes, she said softly. I can do that. Dom nodded and disappeared into the office. Maya stood alone in the massive living room, her heart pounding, her mind spinning. She just agreed to uproot her entire life and move into a penthouse with a man she didn't know. A man who was grieving and disabled and probably emotionally unavailable. But $80,000, housing, health insurance, the chance to learn from Dominic Kane. She pulled out her phone and texted Rosa, I got the job, we're moving Monday. Rosa's response came immediately. What? Call me right now. Maya smiled and headed for the elevator. She had 3 days to pack up her life and prepare for whatever came next. As the elevator descended, she caught sight of herself in the mirror again. This time, the woman staring back didn't look scared. She looked determined. And maybe, just maybe, a little bit hopeful. Monday morning arrived with the kind of cold November rain that made New York feel especially miserable. Maya stood in her empty studio apartment, looking at the few boxes that contained her entire life, and wondered if she was making a huge mistake. Mama, is the moving truck here yet? Tyler bounced on his toes, wearing his favorite superhero backpack. He'd been excited about the move ever since she told him he'd have his own bedroom. He didn't understand the complexity of the situation, and Maya was grateful for that. Should be here any minute, baby. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Moving truck is downstairs. Driver will help with boxes. See you soon. Maya's stomach flipped. This was really happening. The move itself took less than an hour. She didn't have much furniture worth keeping, just some clothes, Tyler's toys, her cooking equipment, and a few sentimental items. The driver, a quiet man named Louis, loaded everything efficiently and drove them to Tribeca. Tyler pressed his face against the window the entire ride, watching the neighborhoods change from the worn buildings of the Bronx to the gleaming towers of downtown Manhattan. Mama, are we rich now? He asked. No, baby, we're just working for someone who is. But we get to live in his house. Yes, that's kind of like being rich. Maya couldn't argue with 5-year-old logic. The doorman, whose name she learned was James, greeted them warmly this time. Welcome, Miss Rodriguez. Mr. Kane asked me to direct you to the service elevator. It'll take you straight to your suite. Service elevator, right, because they weren't guests, they were staff. The elevator opened into a hallway Maya hadn't seen during her interview. It led to a door marked staff quarters, which made her feel like she was in a Victorian novel. But when she opened the door, all thoughts of Downton Abbey vanished. The suite was bigger than her entire apartment. The living room had actual furniture, not the second-hand stuff she'd been using. There was a full kitchen, though she assumed she'd be cooking in Dom's main kitchen most of the time. And down a short hallway there were 3 bedrooms. Tyler ran ahead, checking each room. "Mama, Mama, come look, I have a bed, a real bed." Maya followed him into the smallest bedroom, which was still twice the size of the space Tyler usually slept in. There was a twin bed with a blue comforter, a dresser, a bookshelf, and a window that looked out over the city. "This is mine." Tyler's voice was hushed, reverent. "This is yours." He threw his arms around her waist. "This is the best day ever." Maya blinked back tears. Her son was 5 years old, and he was this excited about having a bed. The guilt she'd been carrying for years pressed down on her chest. "Why don't you start unpacking your toys while I check out the rest of the place?" Tyler didn't need to be told twice. He dumped his backpack on the bed and started pulling out action figures. Maya explored the rest of the suite. The master bedroom was beautiful, with a queen bed and an en-suite bathroom that had a tub, an actual tub. She couldn't remember the last time she'd taken a bath instead of a rushed shower. The third bedroom was set up as an office, with a desk and a bookshelf. On the desk was a note in neat handwriting. "Maya, this space is yours to use however you'd like. There's a laptop in the drawer if you need it for school. The Wi-Fi password is taped to the bottom. Make yourself at home. Dom, make yourself at home." As if that were possible in a place like this. Maya was still processing everything when there was a knock on the door. She opened it to find a woman in her 50s, wearing a gray dress and a stern expression. "Miss Rodriguez." "I'm Margaret, Mr. Kane's house manager. He asked me to show you around and explain the household rules." "Of course, please come in." Margaret stepped inside, her sharp eyes taking in everything. "Your suite is very nice. Mr. Kane had it renovated last year for the previous chef, though that arrangement didn't work out." "What happened to the previous chef?" "He couldn't handle Mr. Kane's exacting standards." Margaret's tone suggested she thought Maya wouldn't last long either. "Now let me explain how things work here. Breakfast is at 7 a.m. sharp. Mr. Kane takes his coffee black, 2 sugars. He'll want you to taste everything he prepares and provide detailed feedback. Lunch is at noon, dinner at 7 p.m. You're expected to be available during those times. What about Tyler, my son? The child may eat with you in your suite or in the staff kitchen. He is not to disturb Mr. Kane during work hours. No running, no shouting, no toys in the common areas." Maya felt her jaw tighten. "He's 5 years old. He's going to make some noise." "Then I suggest you teach him not to." Margaret's smile was cold. "Mr. Kane values his peace and quiet, especially now that he's dealing with his disability. The last thing he needs is a child disrupting his concentration." "Where's Lily, his daughter?" "Miss Lily is at school. She returns at 3 p.m. Her nanny, Patricia, handles her care. You won't need to interact with her much." Something about the way Margaret said that made Maya's stomach turn, like Lily was another inconvenience to be managed. "I'd like to meet her when she gets home." "That's not necessary. Patricia has everything under control." "I'm going to be living here. I'd like to meet her." Margaret's expression tightened. "As you wish. Now let me show you the main kitchen." They left Tyler unpacking and took the main elevator up to the penthouse level. The kitchen was a chef's dream, all stainless steel and top-of-the-line appliances. There was a 6-burner gas range, 2 ovens, a walk-in refrigerator, and enough counter space to prep for a dinner party of 50. Dom was standing at the counter wearing dark sunglasses and holding a knife. He was chopping onions with the kind of precision that came from years of muscle memory. "Mr. Kane, Miss Rodriguez is here," Margaret announced. Dom didn't look up. "Thank you, Margaret. That'll be all." Margaret left with a sniff that suggested she disapproved of being dismissed. Maya watched Dom work. Even without his sight, supposedly, he moved with confidence. The knife flashed through the onions, creating perfect dice. His hands never hesitated. "You're wondering how I can still do this," Dom said. Maya jumped. "I didn't say anything." "You didn't have to. Everyone wonders." He swept the onions into a bowl and reached for a bell pepper. "Muscle memory. I've been cooking for 20 years. My hands know what to do even if my eyes don't work." "That must be frustrating." "Frustrating doesn't begin to cover it." He started on the pepper, his jaw tight. "But I'm adapting. That's what you do. You adapt or you quit, and I don't quit." Maya moved closer, watching his technique. It was flawless. "What are you making?" "Sofrito. I'm trying to recreate a dish I had in Puerto Rico 5 years ago. But I can't taste it, so I don't know if I'm getting it right." Maya's heart skipped. "You're making sofrito. You know it." "My grandmother is from Puerto Rico. I grew up eating her sofrito. She made it every Sunday." For the first time, Dom smiled. It was small, barely there, but it transformed his face. "Then you're the perfect person to tell me if I'm doing this right." He added oil to a pan, let it heat, then added the vegetables. The smell that filled the kitchen was so familiar it made Maya's chest ache. Garlic and peppers and culantro, the holy trinity of Puerto Rican cooking. Dom stirred the mixture, his movements sure despite the sunglasses. "Describe it to me, not just what it tastes like, what it smells like, what it reminds you of." Maya closed her eyes and inhaled. "It smells like Sunday mornings at my grandmother's house. Like the way she'd wake up before everyone else and start cooking, and the smell would pull us out of bed. It smells like home, like safety, like being loved." When she opened her eyes, Dom was staring at her, or at least his face was turned in her direction. "That's what I need," he said quietly. "That's exactly what I need." He finished cooking the sofrito, then spooned some into a small bowl and handed it to her with a spoon. "Taste it. Tell me everything." Maya took a bite. The flavors exploded on her tongue, complex and layered. "It's good, really good. The garlic is perfect, not too sharp. The peppers are sweet but not cloying. The culantro gives it that earthy, almost citrusy note, but it's missing something." "What?" "Ají dulce, sweet peppers. My grandmother always added them. They give it a subtle sweetness that balances the garlic." Dom nodded slowly. "I couldn't find them at the market. I'll have my supplier get some." "I can get them for you. There's a bodega in the Bronx that always has them." "You don't need to go to the Bronx. I'll have them delivered." "It's not the same. The ones at that bodega are fresh. The ones from fancy suppliers are usually half rotten." Dom's mouth quirked. "You're very opinionated about peppers." "I'm very opinionated about food in general. Is that going to be a problem?" "No." He turned back to the stove. "That's why I hired you." They worked together for the next hour, Dom cooking and Maya tasting and describing. It felt natural, easy, like they'd been doing this for years instead of minutes. Dom listened to everything she said, adjusting seasonings, changing techniques based on her feedback. At 3 p.m., the elevator dinged. Maya heard small footsteps and turned to see a little girl with blonde hair and 2 braids walking into the kitchen. She was wearing a private school uniform and carrying a pink backpack. Behind her was a woman in her 40s, thin and severe-looking, who must be Patricia the nanny. "Lily, say hello to Miss Rodriguez," Patricia said. "She's your father's new assistant." Lily looked at Maya with big blue eyes that were so sad it made Maya's heart hurt. "Hello." "Hi, Lily, you can call me Maya." "That's not appropriate," Patricia cut in. "She'll call you Miss Rodriguez." Maya ignored her. "How was school?" "Fine." Lily's voice was small, barely audible. "Do you like school?" "It's okay." Patricia put a hand on Lily's shoulder. "Come along, you have piano practice." "Can I have a snack first?" Lily asked. "After piano." "But I'm hungry now." "You should have eaten your lunch instead of playing with it. Come along." Lily's face fell. She followed Patricia toward the hallway, her shoulders slumped. Maya looked at Dom, who had gone very still. His jaw was clenched, his hands gripping the edge of the counter. "That's your daughter," Maya said quietly. "I know who she is. She's hungry. Patricia handles her schedule. She's 7 years old and she's hungry. Schedule doesn't matter." Dom's head turned toward her. "You've been here for 3 hours. Don't presume to tell me how to parent my child." The words were sharp, cutting. Maya felt them like a slap. "You're right," she said, keeping her voice level. "I'm sorry, it's not my place." She turned to leave, but Dom's voice stopped her. "Maya," she looked back, "thank you for your help today. The sofrito was good, better than good." It wasn't an apology, but it was something. "You're welcome." Maya went back to her suite and found Tyler building a fort out of pillows on his new bed. He looked so happy, so content, that she almost started crying. "Mama, can we have dinner up here tonight? I want to eat in my room." "Sure, baby, whatever you want." She made them grilled cheese and tomato soup, Tyler's favorite, and they ate sitting on his bed while he told her about all the things he wanted to do in their new home. But Maya's mind kept drifting back to Lily, to that little girl with sad eyes who wasn't allowed to have a snack when she was hungry. To Dom, who clearly loved his daughter but had no idea how to show it. This job was supposed to be about food, about helping a chef who'd lost his sense of taste. But Maya was starting to realize it was about so much more than that. The first week passed in a blur of flavors and descriptions. Maya woke at 6 a.m. every morning, got Tyler ready for the private school Dom had enrolled him in without asking, and was in the kitchen by 7. Dom would already be there, wearing his dark sunglasses, ingredients laid out with military precision. They fell into a rhythm. Dom would cook. Maya would taste. She'd close her eyes and let the flavors wash over her tongue, then describe them in the kind of detail that made Dom's hands still on whatever he was chopping. "The lamb is perfect," she said on Wednesday, tasting a bite of the dish he was developing for Ember's new spring menu. "It's got that gamey richness, but the pomegranate molasses cuts through it, sweet and tart at the same time. It tastes like sunset, like the way the light turns everything golden right before it disappears." Dom's mouth curved into something that might have been a smile. "Sunset, that's a new one. You said you wanted poetry." "I did." He plated another portion, his movements sure despite the sunglasses. "What about the couscous?" Maya took a bite. "It needs salt, and maybe some preserved lemon." "Right now it's too neutral. It's not holding its own against the lamb." Dom nodded and reached for the salt without hesitation. His hand found it immediately, like he'd memorized the exact position of everything in the kitchen. Maya watched him work, and not for the first time she wondered if he was really blind. He moved too confidently, never bumped into anything, never fumbled. But then she'd see him tap his cane against the floor before walking, or turn his head in that listening way blind people did, and she'd feel guilty for doubting. "Tell me about your grandmother," Dom said suddenly. Maya blinked. "What? Your grandmother, the one who made sofrito every Sunday. Tell me about her." "Why? Because you cook like her. I can taste it in everything you make. There's love in it, that's rare." Maya's throat tightened. "Her name was Rosa, same as my neighbor. She raised me after my mom died, taught me everything I know about cooking." "How did your mom die?" "Cancer. I was 8. Dom was quiet for a moment. "I'm sorry. It was a long time ago." Maya took another bite of couscous. "Abuela used to say that cooking was how we kept people alive. Every time we made their recipes, we brought them back for a little while." "That's beautiful. That's Puerto Rican grandmothers for you. Everything is poetry and drama and love." Dom smiled. A real smile this time, not just a curve of his mouth. "My wife used to say something similar. That food was memory made tangible." It was the first time he'd mentioned his wife voluntarily. Maya held her breath, afraid to break the moment. "She was a food writer," Dom continued. "That's how we met. She came to review my first restaurant and gave me 2 stars. I was furious. Went to her office to yell at her. She told me my food was technically perfect but emotionally empty. That I cooked like I was trying to impress people instead of feed them." "What did you do?" "I went back to the kitchen and started over, stopped trying to be the best and started trying to be honest. 6 months later she came back, gave me 4 stars. We were married a year after that." Maya's chest ached. "She sounds amazing." She was. Dom's voice went flat. "And then she was gone." He turned back to the stove, his shoulders tight. The moment was over. They worked in silence for a while. Maya wanted to ask more, to understand this complicated man who could talk about his dead wife one minute and shut down the next. But she didn't push. She was learning that Dom had walls, and they were high and thick. At noon, Lily came home from school. Maya had started timing her breaks to coincide with Lily's arrival, hoping to catch a few minutes with the little girl. But Patricia always whisked her away immediately, citing homework or piano or some other activity. Today, though, Patricia was on the phone when Lily walked in. The little girl stood in the kitchen doorway, her backpack sliding off one shoulder, looking lost. "Hi, Lily," Maya said softly. "Hi, Miss Rodriguez. You can call me Maya. I promise I won't tell Patricia." Lily's mouth quirked, almost a smile. "Okay. Are you hungry? I made cookies this morning." Lily's eyes went wide. "Really? Really? Chocolate chip. Want one?" Lily nodded eagerly. Maya grabbed the plate of cookies from the counter and held it out. Lily took one and bit into it, her whole face lighting up. "These are so good," she said around a mouthful of cookie. "Thank you, my grandmother's recipe. Your grandmother must be a really good cook. She was the best." Lily took another bite, then looked at Dom, who was standing very still at the stove. "Daddy, do you want a cookie?" Dom's jaw clenched. "No, thank you, sweetheart. But they're really good. Maya made them." "I'm sure they are, but I can't taste them, remember?" Lily's face fell. "Oh, right, I forgot." The sadness in her voice made Maya want to scoop her up and hug her, but before she could say anything, Patricia appeared in the doorway. "Lily, what are you doing? You know you're not supposed to have sweets before dinner." "But I was hungry and Maya made cookies and no excuses. Come along, we have piano practice." "Can I finish my cookie?" "No, you've had enough sugar." Patricia plucked the half-eaten cookie from Lily's hand and threw it in the trash. Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't cry, just followed Patricia out of the kitchen with her head down. Maya's hands clenched into fists. "That woman is horrible." "She's efficient," Dom said. "She's cruel. Lily is 7 years old. She should be allowed to have a cookie." "Patricia knows what she's doing. She's been with us since Claire died." "That doesn't make her good at her job." Dom's head snapped toward her. "Excuse me." "Your daughter is miserable. She's hungry and sad, and she barely smiles. And that nanny treats her like she's an inconvenience instead of a child. You've been here for a week. You don't know anything about my daughter. I know she's lonely. I know she lights up when someone pays attention to her. I know she wanted to share a cookie with you and you shut her down." Dom's face went hard. "I can't taste the cookie. What was I supposed to do? Pretend?" "Yes, you were supposed to pretend. You were supposed to take the cookie and tell her it was delicious and make her feel like she mattered." The words hung in the air between them. Maya's heart was pounding. She'd crossed a line. She knew she'd crossed a line, but she couldn't take it back, and she wasn't sure she wanted to. Dom's voice, when he spoke, was cold. "You're here to help me with food, not to give me parenting advice." "Right, of course. I'm sorry." Maya turned and walked out of the kitchen. She made it to her suite before the tears came. She'd screwed up. She'd let her emotions get the better of her, and now Dom was going to fire her, and she'd have to go back to the Bronx and explain to Tyler why they had to leave their nice new home. But God, that little girl. Lily deserved so much better than what she was getting. Maya was still crying when there was a knock on her door. She wiped her eyes and opened it, expecting Margaret with a termination notice. Instead, it was Dom. He wasn't wearing his sunglasses. His blue eyes were red-rimmed, exhausted. "You're right," he said. Maya blinked. "What? About Lily, about Patricia, about all of it. You're right. I shouldn't have said those things. It wasn't my place." "No, it wasn't, but that doesn't make you wrong." Dom leaned against the doorframe. "I've been a terrible father since Claire died. I know that. I just don't know how to fix it." Maya's anger melted. "You start by showing up, by being present, by taking the damn cookie even if you can't taste it." Dom's mouth quirked. "Taking the damn cookie, got it. I'm serious." "I know you are, that's why I'm here." He straightened up. "I'm going to fire Patricia. I should have done it months ago, but I need help finding someone new, someone who actually cares about Lily. I can help with that. And in the meantime, would you mind spending time with her, after school maybe, just an hour or two? I'll pay you extra." "You don't need to pay me extra. I like Lily." "Still." I want to compensate you for your time. Maya shook her head. This isn't about money. This is about a little girl who needs someone to pay attention to her. Dom was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Thank you. You're welcome." He turned to leave, then paused. "Maya, yeah. That thing you said about cooking being how we keep people alive, about making their recipes to bring them back. I think Claire would have liked that." Maya's throat tightened. "I think she would have liked you taking the damn cookie too." Dom laughed, actually laughed. It was a rusty sound like he was out of practice, but it was real. "Yeah," he said, "she probably would have." After he left, Maya sat on her bed and took a shaky breath. She'd almost been fired. Instead, she'd somehow become more involved in this family's life than she'd ever intended. She thought about calling Rosa, her neighbor, and telling her everything. But she didn't, because part of her knew that Rosa would tell her to be careful, to keep her distance, to remember that this was just a job, but it was starting to feel like more than a job, and that scared her more than anything. The next afternoon, when Lily came home from school, Maya was waiting in the kitchen with a plate of cookies and a smile. "Want to help me make dinner?" she asked. Lily's whole face lit up. "Really, really, but we have to be quiet. Your dad is working." "I can be quiet. I'm really good at being quiet." The sadness in those words broke Maya's heart. But she pushed it aside and focused on the joy in Lily's eyes. They made chicken tacos together, Lily carefully measuring ingredients and stirring the pot while Maya guided her. The little girl was a natural, her movements careful and precise. "My mom used to cook with me," Lily said softly, "before she died." "Yeah, what did you make?" "Pancakes mostly. She said I was the best pancake flipper in New York." "I bet you were." "I miss her." Lily's voice was small. "I miss her so much." Maya pulled her into a hug. Lily clung to her, her small body shaking with silent sobs. "I know, sweetheart, I know." They stood there in the kitchen, holding each other, while the chicken simmered on the stove. And for the first time since moving into the penthouse, Maya felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be, even if it was complicated, even if it was messy, even if it was starting to feel like more than just a job. 2 weeks into her new life, Maya woke up at 5:30 a.m. to the sound of Tyler singing in the shower. He discovered that the bathroom had excellent acoustics and had taken to performing full concerts while washing his hair. "Tyler, baby, you need to be quieter," she called through the door. "Mr. Kane is probably still sleeping." "But Mama, I sound so good in here," Maya smiled despite herself. Her son's joy was infectious. He loved their new home, loved his new school, loved having his own bedroom. For the first time in his life, he wasn't worried about money or eviction notices or whether they'd have enough food. She got him ready and walked him to school, which was only 3 blocks away. The morning was cold and bright, the kind of November day that made New York feel almost magical. Tyler chattered the whole way about his friend Marcus and the science project they were working on. "Marcus says his dad is a doctor. What does Mr. Kane do?" "He's a chef, a really famous one." "Is that why we live with him?" "We live with him because I work for him, remember. But you're a chef too." "I'm a student and I help him taste food," Tyler frowned. "Why does he need help tasting food?" Maya had been dreading this question. "He was in an accident, it hurt his senses, so now I taste things for him and tell him what they're like." "That's sad." "Yeah, baby, it is." After dropping Tyler off, Maya headed back to the penthouse. She found Dom already in the kitchen, wearing his dark sunglasses and a gray t-shirt that showed off his arms. He was making coffee, moving with that eerie precision that still made her wonder. "Morning," she said. "Morning, I made extra coffee if you want some." "Thanks." Maya poured herself a cup and leaned against the counter. "What are we working on today?" "Dessert menu for Ember. I want to do something with chocolate and chili, but I can't get the balance right." Chocolate and chili. Very Mexican. Very delicious when done right, very terrible when done wrong. They worked together for the next hour, Dom melting chocolate and adding different types of chili while Maya tasted and adjusted. It was becoming her favorite part of the day, these quiet mornings in the kitchen with Dom. He was different when he cooked, less guarded, more himself. "Tell me about Tyler's father," Dom said suddenly. Maya's hand stilled on the spoon. "Why?" "Because you never mention him, and I'm curious." There's not much to tell. We dated in high school. I got pregnant senior year. He said he wanted to be a father. Then Tyler was born and Ryan realized being a father was hard, so he left. Just like that. Just like that. I haven't heard from him in 5 years. Dom was quiet for a moment. That must have been difficult. It was, but I had Abuela and Rosa, my neighbor. They helped me get through it. Do you ever wonder if he'll come back? Maya's stomach twisted. Sometimes. Usually at 3 a.m. when I can't sleep. But then I remember that Tyler is better off without him. We both are. Tyler seems like a great kid. He is. He's the best thing I've ever done. Dom smiled. I can hear it in your voice. The way you talk about him, that's how Claire used to talk about Lily. You should talk about Lily that way too. I'm trying, it's just hard. Every time I look at her I see Claire, and it hurts. Maya's heart ached for him. Lily isn't Claire. She's her own person, and she needs you to see her, not just your grief. I know, I'm working on it. They were interrupted by the elevator dinging. Maya looked up to see Brett Morrison walking into the kitchen carrying a leather briefcase and wearing an expensive suit. Dom, buddy, good to see you up and working. Brett's voice was too loud, too cheerful. I brought those documents we talked about, the ones for the restaurant expansion. Dom's jaw tightened. I told you I needed more time to review them. I know, but the investors are getting antsy. They want to move forward, and honestly, with your situation, it might be better if I just handle the details. You trust me, right? Maya watched the exchange carefully. Something about Brett made her skin crawl. The way he talked to Dom like he was a child. The way his eyes kept flicking to her, assessing, dismissive. I trust you, Dom said slowly. But I still want to review everything before I sign. Of course. But you can't exactly read the fine print right now, can you? Brett laughed. That's why you have me. I'll take care of everything. He pulled out a stack of papers and set them on the counter. Just sign here, here, and here. I'll handle the rest. Dom reached for the papers. Maya's instincts screamed at her to stop him. She didn't know what was in those documents, but she knew Brett was pushing too hard, knew that something was wrong. Actually, she said loudly, I just made fresh coffee. Let me get you a cup, Mr. Morrison. She grabbed the coffee pot and moved toward the counter where the papers were spread out. Brett stepped back to give her room. Maya pretended to stumble, and the entire pot of hot coffee went spilling across the documents. Oh my God, she shrieked. I'm so sorry. I'm so clumsy. Coffee spread across the papers, soaking through the pages, making the ink run. Brett lunged forward, trying to save them, but it was too late. The documents were ruined. What the hell is wrong with you? Brett shouted. Do you have any idea how important those papers were? I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Maya grabbed paper towels and started dabbing at the mess, making it worse. I just tripped. I didn't mean to. You tripped? Are you kidding me? Brett's face was red. Those documents took weeks to prepare. Then you can prepare them again, Dom said calmly. It's fine, Brett. Accidents happen. Accidents? This is incompetence. You need to fire her. I'm not firing her. Dom, she just destroyed important legal documents. And you can get new copies. It's not the end of the world. Brett stared at Dom, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. Finally, he grabbed his briefcase. Fine, I'll get new copies, but this is ridiculous. You're being too soft on her because she's pretty. He stormed out, leaving a trail of coffee-soaked papers behind him. Maya stood there, paper towels in hand, her heart pounding. She just deliberately sabotaged Dom's business partner. If Dom figured out it wasn't an accident, he'd definitely fire her, but Dom was smiling, actually smiling. That was well done, he said quietly. Maya blinked. What? The coffee spill, very convincing, almost had me believing it was an accident. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. You saw something in those papers that made you suspicious, so you destroyed them. Dom tilted his head. What did you see? Maya bit her lip. I didn't see anything specific. I just didn't like the way he was pushing you to sign without reading them. It felt wrong. It was wrong. Brett's been trying to get me to sign documents for weeks now. Documents that would transfer partial ownership of my restaurants to him. What? Why would you do that? I wouldn't, but he thinks I'm vulnerable right now. Thinks I'll sign anything because I can't read the fine print. Maya's blood ran cold. He's trying to steal from you. Yes. And you know this. I've known for a while. Then why haven't you stopped him? Dom's smile turned sharp. Because I'm waiting for him to incriminate himself completely. I need proof that will hold up in court, and I need to know who else is involved. Maya thought about Sienna, Dom's fiancée, who she'd only seen once. The beautiful woman who'd stopped by the penthouse last week and barely acknowledged Maya's existence. Your fiancée, Maya said slowly. Is she involved? Dom's face went hard. What makes you say that? Just a feeling, the way she looks at Brett, the way they look at each other. You're very observant. I grew up in the Bronx. You learn to read people or you don't survive. Dom nodded slowly. Yes, Sienna is involved. They're together, have been for at least a year, maybe longer. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm not in love with her. I never was. She was just there after Claire died and I was lonely, and it was easier to say yes than to be alone. Maya's heart ached for him. That's a terrible reason to get engaged. I know, but I'm fixing it now. By letting them think they're getting away with it. Exactly. I need them to feel confident, to make mistakes, and then I'll have everything I need to destroy them. Maya shivered at the coldness in his voice. This was a side of Dom she hadn't seen before, calculating, strategic, dangerous. What do you need me to do? She asked. Keep doing what you're doing. Spill coffee on documents. Ask inconvenient questions. Make them think you're just a clumsy employee who doesn't know anything. I can do that. Good. Dom reached out and found her hand, squeezing it briefly. Thank you for having my back. Maya's skin tingled where he touched her. You're welcome. They cleaned up the coffee-soaked papers together. Maya kept sneaking glances at Dom, trying to reconcile the grieving widower with the calculating businessman. He was more complex than she'd realized, more damaged, more dangerous. And she was starting to care about him far more than was wise. That afternoon, when Lily came home from school, Maya was waiting with cookies and a smile. They'd fallen into a routine over the past week. Lily would help Maya prep dinner and they'd talk about school and friends and all the things 7-year-olds cared about. Today, Lily was quiet. She took a cookie but didn't eat it, just held it in her hand. What's wrong, sweetheart? Maya asked. Patricia is leaving. What? Daddy fired her. She was really mad. She said I was a spoiled brat and that's why she was leaving. Maya's hands clenched into fists. You are not a spoiled brat. Patricia was wrong to say that. But what if Daddy can't find a new nanny? What if he sends me away? He's not going to send you away. You're his daughter. He loves you. He doesn't act like it. The words were so matter-of-fact, so resigned that Maya wanted to cry. Your dad is going through a really hard time right now, she said carefully. He lost your mom, and then he lost his ability to taste food, which is really important for his job. He's struggling, but that doesn't mean he doesn't love you. Then why doesn't he talk to me? Why doesn't he play with me like he used to? Because he's scared. Sometimes when people are sad, they shut down. They stop doing the things they used to do because it hurts too much. Lily looked up at her with those big blue eyes. Do you think he'll ever be happy again? I think he's getting there, slowly. And I think you can help him. How? By being yourself, by showing him that it's okay to be happy again, by reminding him that life is still worth living. Lily thought about that for a moment, then she took a bite of her cookie. These are really good. Thank you. Will you teach me how to make them? Of course. They spent the next hour making cookies together. Lily was careful and precise, measuring ingredients with the same focus Dom used when he cooked. She was her father's daughter, no question. When Dom came into the kitchen at 6 p.m., Lily ran up to him holding a cookie. Daddy, I made these. Try one. Dom hesitated. Maya could see the war on his face. The desire to make his daughter happy versus the reality that he couldn't taste anything. Please. Lily's voice was small. I worked really hard on them. Dom knelt down and took the cookie. He bit into it, chewed slowly, and smiled. This is delicious, sweetheart. Best cookie I've ever had. Lily's face lit up like the sun. Really? Really? She threw her arms around his neck. Dom hugged her back, his eyes closed, his face twisted with emotion. Maya turned away, giving them privacy. Her eyes were stinging. She'd seen something shift between them just now, something important. Later that night, after Lily was in bed and Tyler was asleep, Maya was in her sweet reading when there was a knock on the door. Dom was standing there, not wearing his sunglasses for once. His eyes were red. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "Teaching me how to take the damn cookie." Maya smiled. "You're welcome." They stood there for a moment just looking at each other. The air between them felt charged, electric. "I should go," Dom said finally. "Yeah," but he didn't move, neither did she. "Maya, don't," she said softly. "Whatever you're about to say, don't. Not yet, not until you're free of Brett and Sienna and all the mess you're dealing with." Dom nodded slowly. "You're right. I usually am," he smiled. "Good night, Maya." "Good night, Dom." She closed the door and leaned against it, her heart pounding. Something was happening between them, something real and complicated and probably a terrible idea, but she couldn't seem to stop it, and she wasn't sure she wanted to. Thanksgiving was 2 weeks away and the penthouse felt different, warmer somehow, despite the November chill seeping through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Maya woke up to find Tyler already dressed and bouncing on her bed. Mama, guess what?" She groaned and pulled a pillow over her face. "It's 6 a.m. on a Saturday, baby. What could possibly be this exciting?" "Lily asked if I could come to her room and play. She has a whole castle set and she said I could be the knight." Maya peeked out from under the pillow. "Did you ask Mr. Kane if that was okay?" "He said yes. He said we could play as long as we're not too loud." Maya sat up, fully awake now. Dom had said yes. Dom, who'd insisted Tyler stay invisible, had actually given permission for the kids to play together. "Okay, but remember the rules. Inside voices, no running. And if Mr. Kane is working, you need to be extra quiet." "I know, Mama, I'll be good, I promise." Tyler ran out of the room, his footsteps thundering down the hallway. So much for being quiet. Maya got up and made her way to the kitchen. Dom was already there making coffee. He wasn't wearing his sunglasses, which was happening more often lately. His blue eyes were clearer today, less haunted. "Morning," she said. "Morning, I hope Tyler didn't wake you." "He did, but that's okay. He's excited about playing with Lily." "She's excited too. She was up at 5:30 asking when he'd be awake." Dom poured 2 cups of coffee and handed one to Maya. "I forgot how much energy kids have. It's terrifying, honestly. I don't know where Tyler gets it." "I'm exhausted just watching him," Dom smiled. "Lily used to be like that before Claire died. She'd wake up singing and spend the whole day running around like she'd had 10 espressos. She's starting to get that energy back. I see it when we cook together." "I know, I've noticed." Dom leaned against the counter. "Thank you for that, for spending time with her, for making her happy." "I like spending time with her. She's a great kid." "She is. I just wish I'd realized that sooner." Maya sipped her coffee. "You're realizing it now. That's what matters." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Dom said, "I'm thinking about taking the kids to Central Park today. There's a playground near the Bethesda fountain. Would you and Tyler want to come?" Maya's heart skipped. "Really? Really? I figure it's time I started acting like a father instead of a ghost who lives in the same house as his daughter." "I think that's a great idea." "Good. We'll leave at 10. At 9:45, Maya had Tyler bundled in his winter coat and was trying to tame his hair, which stuck up in every direction. "Mama, stop. I look fine." "You look like you stuck your finger in an electrical socket." "That's how my hair always looks." "Exactly my point." Lily appeared in the doorway wearing a pink coat and matching hat. "Are we ready to go?" "Almost. Just need to fix Tyler's hair situation." "I like his hair," Lily said. "It's funny." Tyler beamed. "See, Mama." "Lily likes it." Maya gave up and released him. The 2 kids ran toward the elevator, chattering excitedly. Dom appeared next to her, wearing a black jacket and a gray scarf. He looked almost normal, not like a man pretending to be blind, not like a grieving widower, just like a dad taking his kid to the park. "You're staring," he said quietly. "Sorry, it's just nice to see you like this." "Like what?" "Happy." Dom's expression softened. "I'm getting there." They took a car service to Central Park. The driver dropped them off near the Bethesda fountain, and the kids immediately took off running toward the playground. "Tyler, Lily, wait for us," Maya called. They slowed down but kept moving, their excitement palpable. The playground was crowded with families enjoying the unseasonably warm November day. Kids swarmed over the climbing structures while parents stood around drinking coffee and chatting. Lily and Tyler made a beeline for the swings. Maya and Dom followed at a more sedate pace. "This is nice," Dom said. "I can't remember the last time I did something like this. Before Claire died, before that even, I was always working, always at the restaurant. Claire used to bring Lily to the park by herself because I was too busy. You're here now." "Yeah, I am." They found a bench with a view of the swings. Maya watched Tyler push Lily, both kids laughing as she went higher and higher. "They're good together," Dom observed. "They are. Tyler's never had a sibling. I think he likes having someone to play with. Lily's the same. She's been so lonely since Claire died. I didn't realize how much until you and Tyler moved in." Maya's chest tightened. "Dom, I know what you're going to say, that I should have noticed sooner, that I should have been there for her. You're right, but I was drowning in my own grief and I couldn't see past it." "I wasn't going to say that." No, I was going to say that grief is complicated. That there's no right way to do it, and that you're doing better now, that's what matters." Dom turned to look at her. His blue eyes were intense, searching. "How did you get so wise?" "I'm not wise, I'm just a single mom who's made a lot of mistakes and learned from them." "You're more than that." The air between them shifted, became charged. Maya's heart started pounding. "Dom, Daddy, watch me." Lily's voice broke the moment. Dom turned toward the swings. Lily was standing on the seat, pumping her legs to go higher. "Lily, sit down," Dom called. "That's dangerous." "But I'm flying. You're going to fall." As if on cue, Lily lost her balance. She tumbled off the swing with a shriek. Dom was on his feet instantly, running toward her. Maya followed, her heart in her throat, but Lily was already sitting up, laughing. "That was fun. Can I do it again?" Dom knelt beside her, his hands running over her arms and legs, checking for injuries. "Are you hurt?" "No, I'm fine. The wood chips are soft." "You scared me." "Sorry, Daddy." Dom pulled her into a hug. "Don't do that again, okay? I can't lose you too." Lily hugged him back. "I won't, I promise." Maya's eyes stung. She turned away, giving them privacy, and found Tyler standing next to her. "Is Lily okay?" he asked. "She's fine, just scared her dad." "Mr. Kane really loves her, huh?" "Yeah, baby, he really does." They spent another hour at the playground. The kids played tag, climbed on the jungle gym, and made friends with a golden retriever who was very interested in the snacks Maya had brought. When they finally headed home, both kids were exhausted. Tyler fell asleep in the car, his head on Maya's shoulder. Lily dozed off, leaning against Dom. "This was a good day," Dom said quietly. "It was. We should do it again." "Definitely." Back at the penthouse, Maya carried Tyler to his room and tucked him into bed. When she came out, she found Dom in the kitchen making hot chocolate. "Want some?" he asked. "Sure." He poured 2 mugs and they sat at the kitchen island. The penthouse was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic below. "Can I ask you something?" Dom said. "Of course." "Why did you really spill coffee on those documents? The truth." Maya bit her lip. "I told you I didn't like the way Brett was pushing you." "That's part of it, but there's more, isn't there?" she sighed. "I grew up watching my grandmother get scammed. People would come to her with investment opportunities or business deals, and they'd use fancy language and pressure tactics to get her to sign things. She lost a lot of money that way. So when I saw Brett doing the same thing to you, I just reacted. You were protecting me. I was protecting someone who couldn't protect himself, or at least someone who was pretending he couldn't." Dom's mouth quirked. "You know." "Know what?" "That I'm not really blind." Maya's heart stopped. "What?" "You've known for a while, haven't you, that I can see?" She stared at him. "How did you stopped doing the little gestures, the blown kisses, the heart hands. You used to do them all the time when you thought I couldn't see, but about a week ago you stopped." Maya felt her face burn. "Oh my God, you saw all of that. Every single gesture. I'm going to die of embarrassment." "Don't." "Was the most genuine thing anyone's done for me in years." Maya covered her face with her hands. "I can't believe you saw me making hard hands at you like some kind of lovesick teenager." "Is that what you are? Lovesick?" She peeked at him through her fingers. "Are you really asking me that?" "I'm really asking." Maya lowered her hands. "I don't know, maybe. This whole situation is complicated." "It is." You're my boss, you're engaged, you're dealing with betrayal and grief and a million other things. And I'm just the help. You're not just the help. Then what am I? Dom reached across the counter and took her hand. You're the person who makes me want to taste food again, who makes me want to be a better father, who makes me remember what it's like to feel something other than grief and anger. Maya's breath caught. Dom, I know the timing is terrible. I know I need to deal with Brett and Sienna first. I know there are 1,000 reasons why this is a bad idea, but I need you to know that I see you. See you, and not just because I've been pretending to be blind. Maya's eyes filled with tears. This is a really bad idea. The worst. We shouldn't do this. Probably not. But I can't stop thinking about you. I can't stop thinking about you either. They stared at each other across the counter. The air between them was electric, charged with possibility and danger. What are we going to do? Maya whispered. I don't know, but I know I can't keep pretending I don't feel this. Me neither. Dom stood up and walked around the counter. He stopped in front of Maya, close enough that she could feel the heat of his body. Tell me to stop, he said quietly. I can't. Maya, just kiss me already. He did. It was soft at first, tentative, like he was afraid she'd pull away. But Maya leaned into him, her hands coming up to grip his shirt, and the kiss deepened. Dom tasted like hot chocolate and possibility. His hands cupped her face, gentle and sure, and Maya felt something inside her chest crack open. When they finally pulled apart, they were both breathing hard. That was, Maya started. Yeah, we probably shouldn't do that again. Probably not. At least not until you deal with Brett and Sienna. Agreed. They stood there for another moment, neither of them moving. I should go to bed, Maya said. You should. Are you going to let go of me? Eventually, Maya laughed. Dom. Fine. He stepped back, his hands dropping to his sides. Good night, Maya. Good night. She made it to her suite and closed the door before she let herself react. Her hands were shaking, her heart was racing. She just kissed her boss, her fake blind boss who was engaged to someone else. This was a disaster, but God, it had felt right. Maya climbed into bed and stared at the ceiling, replaying the kiss over and over in her mind. She knew she should feel guilty, should feel like she'd crossed a line. But all she felt was hope, and that scared her more than anything. Monday morning arrived with an email that made Maya's blood run cold. Miss Rodriguez, we need to discuss Tyler's custody arrangement. Please call me at your earliest convenience. Ryan Mitchell. Maya stared at her phone, her hands shaking. Ryan, Tyler's father. The man who'd abandoned them 5 years ago and never looked back. She'd given him her email when Tyler was born, thinking maybe he'd want updates about his son. Never responded, not once. And now, out of nowhere, he wanted to discuss custody. Everything okay? Dom's voice made her jump. She was in the kitchen, supposedly making breakfast, but she'd been standing frozen with her phone for the past 5 minutes. It's nothing, just an email. Maya, Dom moved closer. What's wrong? She showed him the email, watched his expression darken as he read it. Who is Ryan Mitchell, Tyler's father? The one who abandoned you. That's the one. Dom's jaw clenched. What does he want? I don't know, but I'm guessing it's not good. Call him, find out what he wants. I'll be right here. Maya's hands were shaking as she dialed the number Ryan had included in the email. He answered on the second ring. Maya, thanks for calling back. His voice was the same, smooth, confident, with that hint of charm that had fooled her when she was 17. What do you want, Ryan? Straight to the point. I always liked that about you. He laughed. I want to see my son. You haven't wanted to see him for 5 years. I know I made mistakes, but I've changed. I have a good job now, a nice apartment. I'm ready to be a father. You're 5 years too late. I have rights, Maya, legal rights. I'm his biological father. Maya's stomach turned. You gave up those rights when you walked away. Actually, I didn't. I never signed away my parental rights, which means I can petition for custody or at least visitation. You wouldn't. I would. Unless we can come to an arrangement. What kind of arrangement? I want to see Tyler, get to know him, maybe have him for weekends once we build a relationship. No, Maya, be reasonable. I'm his father. I deserve a chance. You deserve nothing. You left us. You never paid child support. You never called to see if your son was alive or dead. And now you show up wanting rights. I'm trying to do the right thing here. The right thing would have been staying 5 years ago. It's too late now. We'll see what a judge says about that. He hung up. Maya stood there, the phone pressed to her ear, her whole body shaking. Dom took the phone from her hand and set it on the counter. Then he pulled her into his arms. He can't take Tyler, Maya said, her voice breaking. He can't. Tyler doesn't even know him. He won't. I promise you, he won't. You can't promise that. He's the biological father. Courts favor biological parents. Not when the biological parent abandoned the child. Not when there's proof of neglect. Dom pulled back to look at her. We'll fight this together. Dom, this isn't your fight. Yes, it is. You're part of my life now. Tyler is part of my life, which means your fights are my fights. Maya wanted to argue, wanted to tell him he didn't need to get involved, but the truth was she needed help. She couldn't fight Ryan alone. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Dom called his lawyer immediately. Within an hour, they had a meeting set up for that afternoon. But first, Dom had another meeting with Brett and Sienna. I need you to record this, Dom told Maya. Everything they say, can you do that? Yes, but how? They'll see me. No, they won't. You'll be in the office next door. I'll leave the door open a crack. Your phone should pick up everything. Maya's heart was pounding. Are you sure about this? I'm sure. It's time to end this. At 2 p.m., Brett and Sienna arrived. Maya watched from the next room as they walked into Dom's office, all smiles and false concern. Dom, buddy, how are you feeling? Brett clapped him on the shoulder. I'm fine, tired of not being able to taste anything, but fine. Well, we have something that might cheer you up. Brett pulled out a folder. The expansion deal is ready to close. We just need your signature. What expansion deal? The one we've been talking about for months. Opening 3 new locations. It's going to double your revenue. I don't remember agreeing to that. Sienna moved closer, her hand on Dom's arm. Baby, we talked about this, remember? You said it was a great opportunity. I said I'd think about it. Well, we've thought about it for you. Brett opened the folder. And it's definitely the right move, trust us. Maya's hands clenched. She could hear the manipulation in their voices, the way they were talking to Dom like he was a child. Let me read through it first, Dom said. You can't read it, remember, you're blind. Brett's voice had an edge now. That's why you need to trust us. We're looking out for you. Are you? Of course we are. We're your family. Family doesn't usually try to steal from each other. The room went silent. What are you talking about? Sienna's voice was sharp. I'm talking about the fact that these documents don't outline an expansion. They transfer ownership of my restaurants to Brett, all of them. That's not, Brett started. Don't lie to me. I had my lawyer review the documents you sent last week, the ones Maya accidentally destroyed. He told me exactly what they said. You had them reviewed, but you're blind. How did you? I'm not blind. Maya's breath caught. He was doing it. He was revealing everything. What? Sienna's voice was shrill. I've never been blind. The accident didn't damage my senses. I pretended so I could figure out who was stealing from me. And surprise, surprise, it was my best friend and my fiancé. Dom, you don't understand, Brett tried. I understand perfectly. You've been planning this for months, maybe years. You thought I was vulnerable after Claire died, thought you could manipulate me into signing away everything I'd built. And you, Dom turned to Sienna, you never loved me, you were just using me to get close to my money. That's not true, isn't it? How long have you been sleeping with Brett? Silence. That's what I thought. Dom's voice was cold. Get out, both of you. You can't do this, Brett said. We have contracts, agreements. Agreements you forged, contracts you manipulated me into signing when you thought I couldn't read them. My lawyer is already filing fraud charges. You'll be hearing from him soon. You're making a mistake, Sienna hissed. You need us. I don't need anyone who lies to me. Now get out before I call security. They left. Maya heard the elevator ding, heard their angry voices fading as they descended. She stopped the recording and walked into Dom's office. He was standing by the window, his shoulders tight. You did it, she said softly. I did. How do you feel? Lighter, angry, relieved, all of it at once. Maya moved to stand beside him. What happens now? Now my lawyer takes over. Brett and Sienna will be prosecuted for fraud and attempted theft. They'll probably do jail time. Good. Dom turned to look at her. Thank you for recording that, for having my back. Always. They stood there for a moment just looking at each other. Then Dom's phone rang. It's my lawyer, I should take this. I'll give you privacy. Maya went back to her suite and found Tyler playing with his action figures on the floor. Mama, can Lily come over and play? Not right now, baby, she's doing homework. But I'm bored. Then read a book. Books are boring. Maya smiled despite everything. Since when? Since always. She was about to respond when her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Miss Rodriguez, this is family court. We have a petition for visitation filed by Ryan Mitchell. You'll need to appear for a hearing next month. Maya's world tilted. Next month? Yes, ma'am. December 15th at 9 a.m. You'll receive official notice in the mail. The woman hung up. Maya sat down on the floor next to Tyler, her legs suddenly weak. Mama, are you okay? I'm fine, baby. You don't look fine. She pulled him into a hug. I love you so much. You know that, right? I know, Mama, I love you too. No matter what happens, we're going to be okay. What's going to happen? Nothing bad, I promise. But even as she said it, Maya wasn't sure she believed it. That night after Tyler was asleep, there was a knock on her door. Dom was standing there with 2 glasses of wine. Thought you could use this, he said. You have no idea. They sat on her couch, drinking wine in silence for a few minutes. My lawyer says Ryan doesn't have much of a case, Dom said finally. He abandoned Tyler, never paid support, never tried to contact you. No judge is going to give him custody. But they might give him visitation. Maybe, but we'll fight it. We'll show the judge that Tyler is happy and stable here, that Ryan would only disrupt his life. What if it's not enough? It will be. Maya wanted to believe him, but she learned the hard way that life didn't always work out the way you wanted. I'm scared, she admitted. I know, but you're not alone in this. Why are you helping me? You barely know me. Dom set down his wine glass. Because you helped me when I needed it, because you're good and kind and you deserve better than what life has given you, and because I care about you, a lot more than I probably should. Maya's breath caught. Dom, I know the timing is terrible. I know we have a lot to figure out, but I need you to know that I'm here, for you and for Tyler, whatever you need. Maya set down her own glass and moved closer. What I need is for you to kiss me again. Maya, please. He did. This kiss was different from the first, more urgent, more desperate, like they were both trying to forget about Ryan and Brett and Sienna and all the complications waiting for them. When they finally pulled apart, they were both breathing hard. We really need to stop doing this, Maya said. We really do. But I don't want to. Me neither. They kissed again. And again. Until Maya's phone buzzed with a text from Rosa asking how she was doing. Reality crashed back in. I should go, Dom said. You should. But neither of them moved. Dom, yeah, thank you for everything. You don't need to thank me. Yes, I do. You've given me and Tyler a home, a family, hope. That's not nothing. Dom cupped her face in his hands. You've given me the same thing. You've reminded me what it's like to live instead of just exist. Maya's eyes filled with tears. We're a mess, aren't we? The biggest mess I've ever seen. But maybe we can be a mess together. I'd like that. They kissed one more time, soft and sweet and full of promise. Then Dom left, and Maya was alone with her thoughts and her fears and the hope that maybe, just maybe, everything would work out. But first, she had to face Ryan. And that was going to be the hardest fight of her life. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of legal consultations and tense waiting. Maya threw herself into work, testing dishes for Dom's new winter menu and spending every afternoon with Lily and Tyler. The kids had become inseparable, building blanket forts in Lily's room and putting on elaborate plays for the adults. Dom was different too, lighter somehow now that he'd confronted Brett and Sienna. He smiled more, laughed more, spent actual time with Lily instead of hiding in his office, and he looked at Maya in a way that made her heart race. They hadn't kissed again. Not since that night in her suite, but the tension between them was palpable, electric. Every accidental touch sent sparks through her body. Every shared glance felt loaded with meaning. You're staring again, Dom said one morning as they worked on a new dessert. Sorry, I was just thinking. About how different you are now compared to when I first met you. Different how? Happier, more present, like you finally decided to live instead of just survive. Dom set down the whiskey he'd been holding. That's because of you. It's because of you I just gave you a push. A pretty hard push. You needed it, he smiled. I did. They were interrupted by the elevator dinging. Maya looked up to see a man in an expensive suit walking into the penthouse. Dominic Kane, the man asked. That's me. I'm here to serve you with a subpoena. You're being called to testify in the case against Brett Morrison and Sienna Crawford. Dom took the papers. When's the trial? January 15th. You'll receive more details by mail. The man left. Dom scanned the documents, his expression unreadable. Are you okay? Maya asked. I'm fine. I knew this was coming. Do you have to testify? Yes, but it's good. It means the prosecutor has enough evidence to move forward. Maya bit her lip. What if they get off? They won't. I have recordings, financial records, emails. They're going to prison. He sounded so certain, so confident. Maya wished she had that kind of certainty about her own legal situation. Her hearing with Ryan was in 3 days. 3 days until she had to face the man who'd abandoned her and fight for her right to keep her son. Hey, Dom touched her arm. Stop spiraling. You're going to win. You don't know that. Yes, I do, because you're an amazing mother and Tyler is thriving here. Any judge will see that. Maya wanted to believe him, but doubt gnawed at her insides. That afternoon, Dom had a meeting at Ember. He asked Maya to come with him to taste the new menu items and provide feedback. The restaurant was beautiful, all exposed brick and soft lighting with an open kitchen where diners could watch the chefs work. The lunch service had just ended, so the dining room was empty except for the staff cleaning up. Chef Kane, a young woman with short dark hair, rushed over. It's so good to see you. We've missed you. I've missed being here too, Sarah. How's everything going? Good, really good. The new sous chef you hired is amazing, and the fall menu has been a huge hit. Excellent. Dom gestured to Maya. This is Maya Rodriguez. She's been helping me develop new dishes. Sarah's eyes widened. Oh, you're the one with the incredible palate. Chef Laurent talks about you all the time. Maya felt her face heat. He does. All the time. He says you have the best sense of flavor of any student he's ever taught. That's very kind of him. They spent the next 2 hours in the kitchen. Dom cooked while Maya tasted and the staff watched with interest. It felt good to be in a professional kitchen again, surrounded by the sounds and smells of cooking. This is where you belong, Dom said quietly as they worked on a braised short rib dish. In a kitchen like this, creating food, not just helping me. I like helping you. I know, but you're too talented to just be my assistant. You should be running your own kitchen. Maya's chest tightened. Maybe someday. Not someday, soon. I'm going to make sure of it. Before Maya could respond, her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Miss Rodriguez, this is Ryan Mitchell's attorney. We'd like to meet before the hearing to discuss a settlement. Maya's stomach dropped. What kind of settlement? My client is willing to forego custody in exchange for regular visitation, every other weekend and 1 month in the summer. No, Miss Rodriguez, be reasonable. Mr. Mitchell has rights. Mr. Mitchell has nothing. He abandoned my son. He doesn't get to waltz back into our lives and demand time with him. We'll see what the judge says. The lawyer hung up. Maya stood there, her hands shaking, her heart pounding. What did they want? Dom asked. To negotiate. Ryan wants every other weekend and a month in the summer. What did you say? I said no. Good. Dom took her hand. Don't let them bully you. We're going to win this. But Maya wasn't so sure. The night before the hearing, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, running through every possible scenario in her head. What if the judge sided with Ryan? What if Tyler had to spend weekends with a stranger? What if Ryan tried to turn Tyler against her? At 2 a.m., she gave up on sleep and went to the kitchen to make tea. Dom was already there, sitting at the counter with a glass of whiskey. Couldn't sleep either, he asked. No, come here. Maya sat next to him. He poured her a small glass of whiskey and slid it across the counter. I don't usually drink hard liquor. Tonight's an exception. She took a sip. It burned going down but warmed her from the inside. I'm terrified, she admitted. I know. What if I lose him? You won't. But what if I do? What if the judge decides that Ryan deserves a chance? What if? Dom turned her face toward him. Maya, listen to me. You are not going to lose Tyler. I won't let that happen. You can't control what a judge decides. No, but I can make sure you have the best lawyer in New York. I can testify about what an amazing mother you are. I can show the judge that Tyler is happy and thriving here. And if none of that works, I can make Ryan's life so difficult that he'll wish he'd never filed that petition. Maya's eyes widened. Dom, I'm serious. I have resources, connections. I will use every single one of them to protect you and Tyler. Why? Why would you do that for us? Dom cupped her face in his hands. Because I love you. The words hung in the air between them. You love me, Maya whispered. I love you. I'm in love with you. I have been for weeks now. Maybe since the day you spilled coffee on those documents and looked at me like you just saved the world. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Dom, you don't have to say it back. I know the timing is terrible. I know you have a million things to worry about. But I needed you to know. I needed you to understand that you're not alone in this. I love you too, Maya said, the words tumbling out. I've been trying to keep my distance, but I can't. I love you. Dom kissed her. It was different from the other kisses, slower, deeper, like he was trying to pour everything he felt into that one moment. When they pulled apart, Maya was crying. We're going to get through this, Dom said. Together. Together, Maya repeated. They sat there for a long time, holding each other, drawing strength from each other's presence. And when Maya finally went back to bed, she slept. Because for the first time in weeks, she believed that maybe, just maybe, everything would be okay. The hearing was at 9 a.m. in a gray building in downtown Manhattan. Maya wore her best dress and tried to look confident. Dom was beside her, wearing a suit that probably cost more than her car. His lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia Chen, carried a briefcase full of documents. Ryan was already there with his lawyer. He looked good, too good. Expensive suit, fresh haircut, the kind of polish that came from money. Maya, he smiled at her. You look great. She didn't respond. They were called into the courtroom. The judge was a woman in her 60s with gray hair and a no-nonsense expression. This is a hearing to determine visitation rights for Ryan Mitchell regarding his son, Tyler Rodriguez. Mr. Mitchell, you may present your case. Ryan's lawyer stood up. Your Honor, my client has made mistakes in the past. He acknowledges that, but he's turned his life around. He has a stable job, a good income, and a genuine desire to be part of his son's life. He's asking for reasonable visitation, every other weekend and 1 month in the summer. Miss Rodriguez, your response. Patricia Chen stood. Your Honor, Mr. Mitchell abandoned his son when Tyler was 6 months old. He has never paid child support. He has never attempted to contact Miss Rodriguez or Tyler in 5 years. He has no relationship with this child. Granting him visitation would be disruptive and potentially harmful to Tyler's emotional well-being. Mr. Mitchell, why should I grant you visitation after 5 years of absence? Ryan stood up. Your Honor, I was young and stupid when Tyler was born. I panicked. I made the wrong choice, but I've grown up. I've built a life, and I want to be a father to my son. I want to teach him things, take him places, give him opportunities. What kind of opportunities? I work in finance now. I make good money. I can provide for him in ways Miss Rodriguez can't. Maya's hands clenched. Patricia touched her arm, signaling her to stay calm. Your Honor, may I call a witness? Patricia asked. I'd like to call Dominic Kane to the stand. Dom stood and walked to the witness box. He was sworn in and sat down. Mr. Kane, what is your relationship to Miss Rodriguez? She works for me and she's my girlfriend. Ryan's lawyer jumped up. Objection, this witness is biased. Overruled. Continue, Miss Chen. Mr. Kane, how long has Miss Rodriguez worked for you? About 2 months. And in that time, what have you observed about her parenting? She's an incredible mother. Tyler is happy, healthy, and thriving. She's patient with him. She encourages his interests. She makes sure he feels loved and secure. She's everything a parent should be. And what about Tyler? How does he seem to you? He's a great kid, smart, kind, well-adjusted. He's made friends at his new school. He's excited about learning. He's confident and secure. That's all because of Maya. Thank you, Mr. Kane. Ryan's lawyer stood up. Mr. Kane, isn't it true that you're romantically involved with Miss Rodriguez? Yes. So your testimony is biased. My testimony is honest. I've seen Maya with Tyler every single day for 2 months. I've seen how much she loves him, how hard she works to give him a good life. That's not bias, that's fact. The judge made a note. Anything else, Miss Chen? Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to submit evidence that Mr. Mitchell has been arrested twice in the past 5 years. Once for drunk driving and once for assault. Ryan's face went red. Those charges were dropped, but the arrests are on record, Patricia said calmly, which shows a pattern of poor judgment and potential danger to a child. The judge looked at Ryan. Is this true? The charges were dropped, Ryan repeated. I was never convicted, but you were arrested. Yes. The judge sat back in her chair. I've heard enough. Mr. Mitchell, I appreciate that you want to be part of your son's life. But you abandoned him for 5 years. You have arrests on your record, and most importantly, Tyler doesn't know you. Forcing visitation at this point would be traumatic for the child. Petition denied. Ryan jumped up. Your Honor, please. My decision is final. If you want to build a relationship with your son, I suggest you start with supervised visits arranged through a family therapist. But I will not order Miss Rodriguez to hand over her child to a stranger. Case dismissed. Maya's legs went weak. She'd won. She'd actually won. Dom was beside her immediately, his arm around her waist, holding her up. It's over, he whispered. You did it. Ryan stormed out of the courtroom, his lawyer hurrying after him. Maya turned to Dom and burst into tears. He held her while she cried, relief and joy and exhaustion all pouring out at once. Thank you, she said when she could finally speak. Thank you for being here, for testifying, for everything. Always, Dom said. I'll always be here. They left the courthouse hand in hand, and for the first time in months Maya felt like she could breathe. Tyler was safe. Ryan was gone, and she had Dom. Everything was going to be okay. December arrived with the first real snowfall of the season. Maya woke up to find Tyler pressed against her bedroom window, watching the flakes fall with wide eyes. Mama, it's snowing. Can we go to the park? Can we build a snowman? She smiled. After breakfast, baby. They ate pancakes with Lily and Dom, all of them crowded around the kitchen island. It felt natural now, this little family they'd built. Tyler and Lily bickering like siblings. Dom making terrible jokes that made everyone groan. Maya trying to keep order while secretly loving the chaos. I have news, Dom said as he poured more coffee. Brett and Sienna's trial date has been moved up. It's next week. Maya's stomach clenched. Next week? That's so soon. The prosecutor wants to move quickly. They have enough evidence. They don't want to drag it out. Are you nervous? About testifying? No, I'm ready to end this. But Maya could see the tension in his shoulders. The way his jaw was tight. He was more nervous than he wanted to admit. That afternoon, while the kids played in the snow with the building's doorman supervising, Maya and Dom sat in his office going over his testimony. They're going to ask about your relationship with Brett, Patricia Chen said. She'd agreed to help prep Dom for the trial. About how long you've known him, about your business partnership. We've been friends since college, partners for 8 years. And when did you first suspect he was stealing from you? About 6 months ago. I noticed discrepancies in the financial reports. Money that should have been there wasn't. Then I caught him in my office after hours photographing documents. Why didn't you confront him then? Because I wanted proof. I wanted to know exactly what he was doing and who else was involved. Patricia nodded. Good. They're also going to ask about Sienna, about your engagement. Dom's face tightened. What about it? They'll try to paint you as a jilted lover, someone who's exaggerating the theft because you're angry about the affair. That's ridiculous. I know, but you need to be prepared for it. They spent another hour going over potential questions. By the end, Dom looked exhausted. Going to do great, Maya said after Patricia left. I hope so. You will, you're telling the truth, that's all that matters. Dom pulled her into his arms. How did I get so lucky finding you? I think I'm the lucky one. We're both lucky. They kissed slow and sweet. Maya was just starting to lose herself in it when they heard giggling from the hallway. They pulled apart to find Tyler and Lily peeking around the corner, their faces red from the cold and covered in snow. Daddy's kissing Maya, Lily announced. Gross, Tyler added, though he was grinning. Very gross, Dom agreed. Now go get changed before you track snow all over the house. The kids ran off, still giggling. They're going to tell everyone, Maya said. Good, let them. Dom, I'm serious. I don't want to hide this anymore. I love you. I want everyone to know it. Maya's heart swelled. I love you too. Then let's make this official. Move into my room. Be with me. Really be with me. What about the kids? The kids already think of us as a family. We might as well make it real. Maya bit her lip. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. That night, after Tyler was asleep, Maya packed a bag and moved her things into Dom's room. It felt momentous and terrifying and absolutely right. They lay in bed together, Maya's head on Dom's chest, his fingers running through her hair. Tell me about Claire, Maya said softly. Dom was quiet for a long moment. What do you want to know? What she was like, how you met, what made you fall in love with her. She was brilliant, funny. She could taste a dish and tell you exactly what was in it, down to the specific brand of salt. She challenged me, made me better, made me want to be better. She sounds amazing. She was, but she's gone, and I spent 3 years being angry about that, being stuck in my grief, until you showed up and reminded me that life is still worth living. Maya's eyes stung. I'm not trying to replace her. I know you're not replacing her, you're just being you, and that's exactly what I need. They made love that night, slow and tender and full of emotion. And afterward, lying tangled together in the dark, Maya felt like she'd finally found home. The trial started on a Monday morning. The courtroom was packed with reporters and curious onlookers. Brett and Sienna sat at the defense table, both of them looking confident. Too confident. Dom took the stand first. He was sworn in and sat down, his expression calm. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Linda Martinez, started with basic questions. How long had he known Brett? When did he first suspect theft? Dom answered everything clearly, concisely. He didn't embellish, just stated facts. Then it was the defense attorney's turn. Mr. Kane, isn't it true that you've been under a lot of stress lately? I've been dealing with a disability, yes. A disability that has since resolved, correct? Correct. So you lied about being blind. I pretended to be blind to uncover theft in my company. Or you pretended to be blind to manipulate people, to make them feel sorry for you. Objection. Linda jumped up. Speculation. Sustained. The defense attorney tried a different angle. Mr. Kane, you were engaged to Miss Crawford, correct? Yes. And you discovered she was having an affair with Mr. Morrison. Yes. That must have been very painful. It was disappointing. Disappointing enough to fabricate charges against them. I didn't fabricate anything. I have recordings, financial records, emails, all proving that Brett and Sienna were stealing from me and planning to take over my company. Or you have recordings of private conversations taken out of context, financial records that could be interpreted multiple ways, emails that don't actually prove anything. Dom's jaw clenched. They prove everything. The defense attorney smiled. We'll let the jury decide that. Maya watched from the gallery, her hands clenched in her lap. The defense was trying to make Dom look vindictive, like he was just a jilted lover out for revenge. But then Linda played the recordings. Brett's voice filled the courtroom. He won't know anything anyway. We sell everything, take the money, and disappear. Sienna's laugh. I only got engaged to him for the money. Do you really think I would marry a depressed blind widower? The jury's faces changed, hardened. They'd heard the truth now. The trial lasted 3 days. Witness after witness testified about the theft, about the forged documents, about Brett and Sienna's affair. On the 3rd day, the jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. We find the defendants guilty on all counts. Brett's face went white. Sienna started crying. The judge sentenced them each to 3 years in prison and ordered them to pay restitution. It was over. Dom walked out of the courtroom with Maya beside him. Reporters swarmed, shouting questions, but Dom ignored them all. How do you feel? Maya asked when they were finally alone in the car. Relieved, exhausted, ready to move on. What happens now? Now I rebuild. I focus on the restaurants, on Lily, on you and Tyler, on our life together. Our life together, I like the sound of that. Dom took her hand. Good, because I'm not letting you go. That night, they celebrated with takeout Chinese food and a movie with the kids. It was perfect. Simple and easy and exactly what they all needed. Later, after the kids were asleep, Dom pulled Maya onto the balcony. The city sparkled below them, a million lights against the dark sky. I have something for you, he said. Dom, you don't need to give me anything. I know, but I want to. He pulled out a small box. Maya's breath caught. Is that? It's not what you think, not yet anyway. He opened the box to reveal a key. This is a key to my restaurant, to Ember. I want you to be my partner, not just in life, but in business. I want us to build something together. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Dom, you're an incredible chef. You have instincts I've never seen in anyone else, and I want to give you the chance to shine, to have your own kitchen, your own menu, your own success. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Yes, of course, yes. Dom kissed her, deep and passionate, and Maya felt like her heart might burst from happiness. She'd come to this penthouse 2 months ago desperate and scared. Now she had a family, a career, a future, and most importantly, she had love. Real, honest, complicated, beautiful love, and that was worth everything. Christmas came fast. The penthouse was transformed into a winter wonderland. Lily and Tyler had insisted on decorating every surface, and Dom had given them free rein. The result was a chaotic explosion of tinsel, lights, and ornaments that somehow worked. Maya woke up on Christmas morning to find Tyler jumping on the bed. Mama, Mama, Santa came, there are so many presents, she groaned and pulled the pillow over her head. What time is it? 6 a.m., Tyler yanked the pillow away. Come on, Lily's already up. Maya looked at Dom, who was also awake, his hair sticking up in every direction. Your son has too much energy, he said. He's your son too now, apparently. Dom smiled. Yeah, I guess he is. They got up and found Lily and Tyler already in the living room, staring at the mountain of presents under the tree. Can we open them now? Lily asked. After breakfast, Dom said. But Daddy, after breakfast, that's the rule. Maya made pancakes while Dom made hot chocolate. The kids sat at the counter, practically vibrating with excitement. This is the best Christmas ever, Lily said. We haven't even opened presents yet, Maya pointed out. I know, but we're all together. That's what makes it the best. Maya's eyes stung. She looked at Dom, who was blinking rapidly like he might cry too. After breakfast, they finally opened presents. Tyler got the bike he'd been begging for. Lily got an art set that made her squeal with joy. There were books and games and clothes and more toys than 2 kids could possibly need. Then Dom handed Maya a small box. What's this? Open it. Inside was a necklace. A simple gold chain with a small pendant shaped like a whisk. Dom, it's beautiful. Read the inscription. Maya turned the pendant over. Engraved on the back were 3 words. You're my taste. She burst into tears. Happy tears, I hope, Dom said. The happiest. She threw her arms around his neck. I love you so much. I love you too. Gross, Tyler announced. They're kissing again. Super gross, Lily agreed. But both kids were grinning. That afternoon, they went ice skating at Rockefeller Center. It was crowded and chaotic and perfect. Tyler fell approximately 50 times. Lily was surprisingly graceful. Dom held Maya's hand the whole time, and she felt like she was living in a dream. I have an announcement, Dom said that night at dinner. Everyone looked at him. I've decided to open a second restaurant, and Maya is going to be the head chef. Maya's fork clattered to her plate. What? You heard me. It's going to be called Roses after your grandmother. We'll serve Puerto Rican food with a modern twist. Your food, your vision. Dom, I can't. Yes, you can. You're ready, more than ready. But I haven't even graduated culinary school yet. So you'll finish school while we plan the restaurant. We'll open next fall. That gives you plenty of time. Maya couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Her own restaurant, named after Abuela. What do you say? Dom asked. I say yes, 1,000 times yes. The kids cheered. Dom pulled her into a kiss. and Maya felt like the luckiest person in the world. The rest of the holiday season passed in a blur of happiness. They spent New Year's Eve at Dom's country house, just the four of them. They made dinner together, played board games, and watched the ball drop on TV. At midnight, Dom kissed Maya while the kids made gagging noises. "This is our year," he said. "I can feel it." "Our year," Maya repeated, and she believed it. In January, they started planning roses. Maya spent hours developing recipes, testing flavors, perfecting dishes. Dom was there every step of the way, tasting everything, offering suggestions, pushing her to be better. "This mofongo is good," he said one afternoon, "but it needs something." "What?" "More garlic and maybe some crispy pork skin on top." Maya adjusted the recipe, tasted it. "Oh my God, that's perfect." "I know." She threw a dish towel at him. "Cocky much." "Just confident in my girlfriend's abilities." They worked together seamlessly. Maya had never felt so creatively fulfilled. So challenged, so alive. In February, Dom officially adopted Tyler. They went to court on a Tuesday morning. The judge asked Tyler if he wanted Dom to be his father. "Yes," Tyler said without hesitation. "He's already my dad. This just makes it official." The judge smiled and signed the papers. Afterward, they went out for ice cream even though it was freezing outside. Tyler couldn't stop smiling. "I have a real dad now," he kept saying. "A real dad who wants me." Maya cried the whole way home. In March, they found the perfect location for roses, a space in the West Village with exposed brick walls and big windows. It needed work, but Maya could see the potential. "This is it," she said, walking through the empty dining room. "This is where we're going to build something amazing." Dom came up behind her and wrapped his arms around her waist. "Yes, we are." They hired contractors, ordered equipment, designed the menu. Every day brought them closer to the dream. In April, Lily asked Maya a question that changed everything. "Maya, can I call you Mom?" They were in the kitchen making cookies. Maya's hand stilled on the mixing bowl. "What? Can I call you Mom? I know you're not my real mom, but you feel like my mom, and I want to call you that." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Of course you can, sweetheart. I would be honored." Lily hugged her tight. "I love you, Mom." "I love you too, baby girl." That night, Maya told Dom what had happened. He pulled her into his arms and held her while she cried happy tears. "You're amazing," he said. "You know that, right? You came into our lives and fixed everything that was broken." "I didn't fix anything. We fixed each other." "Yeah, we did." In May, Dom surprised Maya with a weekend trip to Puerto Rico. They left the kids with Rosa, Maya's neighbor who'd become like a grandmother to both children, and flew to San Juan. Dom had rented a house on the beach. They spent 3 days eating amazing food, swimming in the ocean, and making love like they were the only two people in the world. On the last night, they sat on the beach watching the sunset. "I want to ask you something," Dom said. "Okay." He pulled out a small box. Maya's heart stopped. "I know we've only been together for 6 months. I know some people would say it's too fast, but I don't care. I love you. I love Tyler. I love the life we're building together, and I want to make it official." He opened the box. Inside was a ring, a simple diamond on a platinum band. "Maya Rodriguez, will you marry me?" Maya was crying too hard to speak. She just nodded. Dom slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her. The sun set behind them, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. "I can't believe this is real," Maya said when she could finally talk. "Believe it, this is our life now, our beautiful, messy, perfect life." They flew home the next day and told the kids immediately. "You're getting married," Lily shrieked. "We're getting married," Tyler shouted. The kids jumped around the living room celebrating. Dom and Maya watched them, holding hands, smiling. "When's the wedding?" Lily asked. "We haven't decided yet," Maya said. "Can I be the flower girl?" "Of course." "Can I be the ring bearer?" Tyler asked. "Absolutely." They decided on a small ceremony in August, right before roses opened. Just family and close friends. The next few months were a whirlwind. Planning the wedding, finishing the restaurant, preparing for their new life together. Roses opened on a Friday night in late August. The dining room was packed. Food critics, friends, family, everyone who'd supported them along the way. Maya stood in the kitchen, her heart pounding, watching the tickets come in. "You ready for this?" Dom asked. "I'm terrified." "Good, that means you care." He kissed her forehead. "Now go show them what you can do." Maya cooked like her life depended on it. Every dish was perfect. Every flavor was balanced. Every plate was a work of art. The reviews came in the next day. 5 stars across the board. "A triumph," one critic wrote. "Maya Rodriguez is a star in the making." "The best Puerto Rican food in New York," another said. "Maybe the best in the country," Maya cried, reading them. Dom held her and told her he'd always known she was brilliant. The wedding was the following weekend. They got married at the country house, surrounded by flowers and friends. Lily was the flower girl. Tyler was the ring bearer. Both kids took their jobs very seriously. Maya wore a simple white dress. Dom wore a gray suit. They wrote their own vows. "You saved me," Dom said, his voice thick with emotion. "You came into my life when I was drowning in grief and anger, and you reminded me what it means to live, to love, to hope. I promise to spend the rest of my life making you as happy as you've made me." Maya was crying before she even started her vows. "You gave me a home," she said. "Not just a place to live, but a real home, a family, a future. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. You loved my son like he was your own. You gave me the chance to follow my dreams. I promise to love you every day, to support you, to build a life with you that's full of joy and laughter and really good food." Everyone laughed through their tears. The officiant pronounced them husband and wife. They kissed while everyone cheered. At the reception, they danced under string lights while Tyler and Lily ran around with the other kids. "This is perfect," Maya said, her head on Dom's shoulder. "It is. I can't believe this is my life now. Believe it, this is just the beginning." And it was. 1 year later, Maya stood in the kitchen of Rose's, watching the dinner service with satisfaction. The restaurant was thriving. They'd been nominated for a James Beard Award. There was a 3-month waiting list for reservations. And Maya had just found out she was pregnant. She hadn't told Dom yet. She was waiting for the right moment. That moment came later that night after they'd closed the restaurant and sent the staff home. They sat at their favorite table sharing a bottle of wine. Well, Dom was drinking wine. Maya was drinking sparkling water. "Why aren't you drinking?" Dom asked. "Because I can't." "Why not?" Maya pulled out the pregnancy test she'd taken that morning and set it on the table. Dom stared at it. At her, then back at the test. "You're pregnant. I'm pregnant. We're having a baby. We're having a baby." Dom jumped up and pulled her into his arms, spinning her around. "This is amazing. This is incredible. When did you find out?" "This morning. I wanted to tell you right away, but I wanted to wait until we were alone." "How far along are you?" "About 6 weeks, I think. I have a doctor's appointment next week to confirm." Dom cupped her face in his hands. "I love you so much." "I love you too. Tyler and Lily are going to lose their minds." "I know, I can't wait to tell them." They told the kids the next morning at breakfast. "You're having a baby." Lily's eyes went wide. "We are," Maya confirmed. "I'm going to be a big sister." "You are." Lily screamed with joy. Tyler looked less thrilled. "Does this mean the baby is going to take my room?" "No, baby, the baby will have its own room." "Oh, okay then. That's cool, I guess." But Maya could see him warming to the idea. The pregnancy was easy. Maya worked at the restaurant until she was 8 months along, then reluctantly took maternity leave. The baby, a girl they named Claire Rosa Kane, was born on a snowy February morning. She had Dom's blue eyes and Maya's dark hair. She was perfect. Tyler and Lily were obsessed with her. They fought over who got to hold her, who got to feed her, who got to change her diaper, though that enthusiasm faded quickly. Dom was a natural father this time around. He woke up for night feedings. He changed diapers without complaining. He sang lullabies in a surprisingly good voice. "You're so different than you were with Lily," Maya observed one night as she watched him rock Claire to sleep. "I'm not different, I'm just present. I'm not hiding from my grief anymore. I'm living. I'm glad." "Me too." 6 months after Claire was born, Rose's won the James Beard Award for Best New Restaurant. Maya stood on stage, holding the award, crying happy tears. I want to thank my husband Dom, who believed in me before I believed in myself, she said. I want to thank my grandmother Rosa, who taught me that food is love. And I want to thank my family, all of them, for supporting me every step of the way. This award isn't just mine, it's ours. The audience gave her a standing ovation. That night they celebrated at home with takeout and champagne. I'm so proud of you, Dom said, pulling Maya into his arms. I'm proud of us. We did this together. Yeah, we did. They stood there holding each other while their children played in the next room and their baby slept peacefully in her crib. Remember when we first met? Maya asked. When you were pretending to be blind and I was just a desperate single mom looking for a job. I remember you spilled coffee on my documents. On purpose. I know, it was the moment I started falling in love with you. Really, really. You were so fierce, so protective, so completely yourself. I'd never met anyone like you. And now look at us, married, 3 kids, a successful restaurant, a life we built together. It's pretty amazing. It's everything. Dom kissed her, soft and sweet and full of love. I love you, Maya Kane. I love you too, Dominic Kane. From the living room, they heard Tyler shout, Mom, Dad, Lily took my toy. Did too. I'm going to throw both your toys in the trash. Maya and Dom looked at each other and laughed. Welcome to parenthood, Maya said. Wouldn't have it any other way. They want to break up the fight together, the way they did everything now. Together, as a family, as partners, as people who'd found each other in the most unexpected way and built something beautiful from the broken pieces of their pasts. And as Maya tucked Tyler and Lily into bed that night, kissing their foreheads and telling them she loved them, she thought about how far they'd all come. From a desperate single mom and a grieving widower to a real family. From strangers to soulmates, from broken to whole. And she knew with absolute certainty that this was exactly where she was meant to be. Home.